Hello everyone, my name is Ben Baldwin and I'm going to explain to you the difference between enroller and sponsor. This video is for those who are sharing doTERRA, building doTERRA as a business, and intended to help you understand the difference between these two concepts as you build your doTERRA business. The first place you encounter the enroller and sponsor idea is on the new membership form. Someone's filling it out and they'll say, what is enroller sponsor? Who is that? And then the other is placement sponsor. You need to know these. People filling out the forms may not necessarily know. You can help them, but you'll need to know these differences, because as you go to place their information in the internet, as you go to set up their new account, you'll need to know the enroller ID and the sponsor ID. So that's what we hope to accomplish in this video, is to explain to you the difference between these so you can identify who the enroller should be and who the sponsor should be. So what's the difference? Well, the main difference is that the enroller is the person who introduced the new person, the person who signed them up. The sponsor is the person who is above that person in the graphical tree. Ideally, it's also the person who supports that new person. But there's always exceptions. So the enroller. I'll first talk about the enroller. Enroller can be seen as the introducer. You can ask the questions: who brought this new person to the class? Whose friend is this? Who did the work to sign this person up? Who entered the information online? Who will have 100 PV LRP orders that can benefit from commission? So for example, say in this first picture, Jack introduced Sally to Patricia. Patricia is teaching a class. Patricia teaches the class and Sally wants to sign up. And so Patricia has to determine who's going to be Sally's enroller. If Jack isn't a member himself, he can't be an enroller. Let's say he is a member, but he never really buys. He buys here and there. You can explain to Jack that there is a chance that he could receive a commission, or like something similar to a referral fee. But to qualify that, he'll need to have an LRP order of 100 PV or more. Jack may or may not be interested in that. If he's not interested in that, don't make him the enroller. If he is interested in that, you'll want to make sure that he gets the referral fee, or what we'll explain later is fast start, for introducing this new enrollee. If he's not interested, you need to consider who's doing the work, who's putting this person in online. If Jack is interested, it would be in his best interest to enter the new member's details online himself. So there you go. That's who the enroller should be. It's a little bit of thinking that needs to go into it, and you also need to have this discussion with people. So the enroller, if you log in and you look under your team tab under graphical tree, your graphical tree may look a bit different than this. If you've just started out, it might look just like boxes. They turn into icons when you have a lot of people there. If you're at the top there, and George, in that example, I think I called him Jack, George introduced Sally. You put Sally down there. Now, if George doesn't want to do the business, he's really not interested, or Jack, let's say Jack introduced Sally, and Jack is just interested in making connections, right? So he's not interested in doing the business. He's not interested in making 100 PV LRP orders. You did the work. You introduced Sally. You set up her membership, so you are the enroller. Now, in doTERRA.com, you can't really see that relationship between you and Sally. Now, since you did all the work, Jack may have brought her to the class, but he's really not in doTERRA. He's not interested, and you've had that discussion with him, so you are the enroller, but you can't see that in this diagram here. You need to click on Sally. That'll open up this other screen that looks similar to this. This tells you all about Sally and her membership. You click on consultant information, it'll bring up a consultant information screen, and next to enroller name, it'll have the name of the person who enrolled that person, Sally, in our example, for instance. So why is that important at all? Enroller status is important because it helps determine how compensation is paid. And that's important in 3 areas. And I'll just briefly go over those today. That's fast start, qualifying legs for rank, and extra leadership bonuses. First is fast start. Now, we'll explain fast start in other areas, in other presentations, but here just simply know that when someone enrolls for the first 60 days, that commission for anything they buy is paid to the enrollers for the first 60 days. So in this example, Patty, she enrolled. Susan enrolled Patty. Patty makes an order. Susan will receive 20% of that in terms of commission. So instead of that, those percentage going to marketing, going to advertising, going to store, supporting a store somewhere, it's paid to those people who marketed the product. So Susan will receive 20%. Joe, who enrolled Susan, will receive 10%, and Sam, who enrolled Joe, will receive 5%. Fast Start is paid weekly, and it's only paid for the first 60 days. After that, that money will then go to Unilevel, and I'll show that later on when we talk about sponsors. So that's what Fast Start is. Again, there's more you can learn about Fast Start in other areas of our training, but for now, just know that this Fast Start is only paid to enrollers. It's paid weekly, and it's paid to those enrollers who have an LRP of 100 PV or more. Now, the second way that an enroller is beneficial is it's one of the requirements for the leadership ranks. There's 3 requirements for reaching ranks. There's personal purchases, your organizational purchases, or organizational volume and personal volume, and also those under you who you have enrolled that have reached a certain rank. So to become a premier, you need to have enrolled someone, 2 people that reach the rank of executive as one of the qualifiers to reach the rank of premier. Now, again, as a rule of thumb, if you did the work, you always make yourself the enroller. You can change this down the track if you enroll someone under someone else and you want to change it, but you'd only do that if it makes sense to do so, and you can do that by emailing doTERRA. So if you, for example, if you had signed up a friend and you placed that friend, we'll call her Susan, under another friend named Janice, and Janice began to do the business, and she's progressed to a point where she could become premier, and Susan is executive, but you were the enroller of Susan, and you placed Susan under Janice. You could then change Susan's enrollership status from you to Janice, so that Janice can reach the rank of premier. So that's one of the strategies you can use to achieve your rank legs. So that's just for now. Just remember that the enroller status is important when you go to reach these higher ranks. It has to be someone that you have enrolled that reaches that rank to reach those leadership ranks. The next way that this is important is leadership shares. Silver and above are leadership ranks. Premier is not quite a leadership rank, but silver and above will receive the extra bit of commission that goes to compensate them for leading others. And the proof is that they've helped these people they've personally enrolled reach those ranks. Now they take 6% of the company volume and split it up into these 5 pools. For instance, a silver receives 1 share of the leadership performance pool, which is also shared with the gold and platinum ranks. Now, the silver can receive an additional share if that silver helps someone that they have personally enrolled reach the rank of elite. They help that person reach the rank of elite, they'll get the 1 share plus an extra share of that leadership performance pool, extra money, compensation for leading people. So that's another way that enrollership is important. So there's 3 things: fast start, rank for qualifying legs, and when you get to it, there's extra leadership bonus shares for those who help others also achieve. So that's it for enrollers. Now let's talk about sponsors. Now, sponsors generally is the person who will be supporting that new person. Not always the case. It simply means who is above that person on the tree, and we'll get into that further. It's important because of Power 3 and Unilevel, and you can see it directly in the graphical tree. Now, sponsor. Now, want to ask the question: who will be providing support for this new member? Who is building the business? So, for instance, this girl on the right here is, but let's use a new name, Patricia. Okay, and that is Joanne. Yeah, Patricia and Joanne. So Joanne's just joined. Patricia was not the enroller. Patricia's upline enrolled Joanne and put Joanne under Patricia. So Patricia is there to help support Joanne. Now, it's not always the case that the person who is the sponsor is providing the support. You may just need to put someone under someone else. You'll provide that support a couple of levels down, but you just need the extra volume. For instance, that particular leg, you need it to become elite so you can become silver, and it needs a couple hundred more PV. You put that new person under someone in that leg to help that leg become elite so you can become silver. So ask yourself, where do you need the extra volume? And then you would be providing support to that person if no one else in that line is going to do that. So these are all questions you ask when providing support. So just think of sponsorship as about support, but it's also about where you need the extra volume. So these are conversations you would have. You would talk to Patricia, for instance, in this example, about if she's growing the business, would she be willing to support Joanna, answer questions and help her with her orders, go over and review her membership, those sorts of things. And Joanna wins, you win, and I'll show you how that sponsorship is paid later on. So let's look at an example in mydoterra.com. If you're at the top there and you've got Bob right under you, Bob's sponsor is you. That's simply, all sponsor simply means is the person above the individual in the graphical tree. You see Joe here next to Bob. If Joe had someone under him, let's say Sally, Sally's sponsor is Joe. Sally is directly under Joe. Joe is just right above Sally, so Sally's sponsor is Joe. If you bring up Sally's consultant information, it'll say Sally is Joe is Sally's sponsor. Okay. So why is sponsor important? As we said before, and just like who the enroller is, it just simply helps determine whose compensation. Compensation is paid in a way that helps us know how to act to grow our business, and so it's very well thought out to provide support and all the mechanisms in place to help us do the right things for our business. So the first of these areas is Power of 3. The second is Unilevel. So I'll just briefly discuss these. If you want to learn more, there you can seek out training in other videos. Power of 3 is basically compensation for organizing your business in a sustainable manner. There are 3 rules for Power of 3. First, you have to have an LRP of 100 PV or more. Second, you have to have 3 people under you on the first level, that is 3 people that you sponsor, have an LRP of 100 PV or more. The third requirement is that you and everyone on your first level has to have a team volume of 660 of 600 of 600 PV or more. I'm looking at this example, it says 660. So this example below here actually reaches those requirements. So they would receive $50, which is the first level of power of 3. If you can do that for 2 levels down, that's $250. 3 levels down, 1,500. Simply compensation for organizing your structure properly, for having people in place to support other people, supporting other people, helping other people build. It's all about getting the ball rolling and getting you set up to receive those ranks further on down the track. There's no reason you should have more than a few people on your front on level 1. So once you've filled up level 1, start to build a power of 3. And you do that by placing sponsors. It's all about sponsor. The next reason that the sponsor is important in terms of compensation is Unilevel. After the 60 days, that money that was being paid to the fast start, the people who received the fast start, the enrollers, is now paid to the sponsors. So if you're at the top of in this example, you're at the top here, the person immediately below you, the sponsorship determines what level they're on. So if you're Cat's sponsor, Cat's on your level 1, and you will earn, if you qualify, 2% of everything that Cat buys. It's the 35% split up in a different way, again to compensate you and those other people who have worked hard to teach people about oils, host classes, and market the products. This is money that doTERRA is not spending for advertising, marketing campaigns, leasing a storefront and doing all that stuff. So this is paid for your marketing efforts in that regard. People on level 2 paid 3%, level 3, 5%. If someone down there skips an order and doesn't order that month, don't worry, we skip them. And it's called dynamic compression. So if you are qualified to receive 7 levels of payment under Unilevel, you'll receive that 7 levels no matter what those people, as long as there's people 7 levels deep. All right, so that's Unilevel, and that's how that's paid, and that's paid based on sponsorship. It's paid to those sponsors. So that covers sponsorship. I hope that explains it in a clear manner to you. The sponsor is simply the person that will support them. And the best definition of sponsor is that person who is above you or is above whoever you're referring to on the graphical tree. So to find out who George's sponsor is, just look the next level up on the graphical tree. And it's important in terms of compensation and for power of 3 and Unilevel. So I hope you've been able to see the difference between an enroller and a sponsor, and been able to understand the importance of why each one of those is important. Now, they're important because of compensation. So there's 4 ways that you're paid compensation: fast start, power of 3, leadership bonuses, and Unilevel. Again, we can go into that in the compensation areas of our training, but just know that that's how each of those is important for an enroller or a sponsor. Also, the qualifying legs for rank are based upon who the enroller is for that leg. So simply, just remember one rule, if you want to have it overly simplified here, is that if you're setting up someone's membership, you are the enroller. The sponsor is who you place the new enrollee under in your graphical tree. So thank you for watching. I hope that's helped you understand the difference between enroller and sponsor, and I hope that's given you a more clear idea of who to put in those areas when setting up the membership for your new members. Good luck in everything you do. If anything needs to be explained more, please let me know. Give me feedback on this video. I'm happy to do it over. If something needs to be made more clear, more examples or something like that. So good luck with everything, and thank you.